Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, time to start this week's meeting of the Planning Board. I'm Bob Twist, the Vice Chair sitting in for Steve Robichaud, who's not with us tonight. So welcome to the April 14th, 2025 meeting of the Barnstable Planning Board here at Barnstable Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, Mass. James H. Crocker Jr. Hearing Room, second floor, at now at 7 o'clock. The meeting notice has previously been filed with the town clerk in accordance with Massachusetts general law. All application materials may be accessed through the Planning Board website or by contacting Karen Pina at karen.pina@town.barnstable.ma.us or calling 508-862-4064. The meeting will be televised via Xfinity Channel, televised live via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. May also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live stream on the Town of Barnstable website, streaming 85.townofbarnstable.us, etc. I now must inquire if anyone else is recording the meeting, and if so, to make your presence known. Seeing no one, it's time to call to order. I'll start with the introduction of the commission and board members, starting with Matt.
Good evening, Matt Tague.
Good evening, Michael Messinas.
Good evening, Ray Sexton.
Mary Barry.
Good evening, Tim O'Neill.
And again, I'm Bob Twist, and Steve is out. Staff, Jim.
Good evening, Jim Kupfer, Director of Planning and Development.
Karen Pina, Admin Assistant, Planning and Development.
Great, thanks. This is the time set aside for general public comment. This is for any public comment which is not related to any item on the agenda. Does anyone have any public comment? Seeing none, we can move then to the first agenda item, which is an approval not required. Yeah, well, I was going to have Ray read it, but I'm happy to have you volunteer to.
No, Ray's a good guy to do it.
That's good, because I was saving you for the other one.
Oh, that's payback, sir. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Approval not required. David Capalucci, trustee of David A. Capalucci Revocable Trust of 2021, has submitted an approval not required plan entitled Plan of Land 31 and 5 Eel River Road, Barnstable, Massachusetts, dated March 19th, 2025 for approval. This is not a public hearing and does not need to be voted to open or close.
Thanks, Ray. And I see the applicant has come to the podium. If you just state your name for the record, and then we're happy to hear whatever you want to tell us.
Certainly. My name is Jake Fricky. I'm here representing David Capalucci. I'm a registered professional land surveyor with Cape and Islands Engineering. Tonight, as you identified, we're talking about an approval not required plan for the properties located at 5 and 31 Eel River Road. These properties are both owned by the same individual, and this plan represents an equal area land swap between the two properties in order to allow the driveway for number 5 Eel River Road to remain entirely on that property. Currently, the driveway for number 5 cuts across the westerly section there. There's a panhandle, cuts across the westerly section as it heads along a common driveway and then to a driveway easement and a right-of-way out to Eel River Road. And he wanted to reorganize this so that the driveway remained on the one property, and we have accommodated that by swapping 3,114 square feet between the two parcels. Yes, the deed for 5 Eel River Road identifies the rights to pass and repass over the various driveway and right-of-way to get out to Eel River Road.
Great. And I unfortunately had not turned on the microphone, so I'll just repeat what I said so she can pick it up. And that was that I understand you've already submitted proof that the other landowner has an easement to gain access to that property.
Yes, that is correct.
What you just told me is right.
It is recorded in the current deed.
Great. Jim, anything to add from the staff?
No, nothing further.
Okay, so members of the board, starting with Matt, any questions?
I have none, no, none.
Michael?
I'm all set, thank you.
Ray?
None here.
Mary?
All set, thank you.
Jim?
All set, thank you.
Okay. And I also have no questions, so Ray, could you submit a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to endorse the plan entitled Plan of Land, prepared for David Capalucci, prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, last revised March 19, 2025, as an approval not required, with the following findings. The plan as submitted qualifies as an approval not required plan, and it should be endorsed by the board as it does not constitute a subdivision because each of the lots have the minimum required frontage on an existing way, having suitable grades and adequate construction to provide for the needs of vehicular traffic in relation to the proposed use, and for the installation of municipal services to serve such use, or has been labeled as not buildable, and all materials and conditions of Chapter 801, Article 4, approval not required plans have been submitted and are in full compliance.
Thank you, Ray. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. So all those in favor, starting with Matt?
Aye.
Aye.
Michael? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Ray?
Aye?
Mary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so it's unanimous. You have your approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Going to the second item on the agenda is subdivision number 827 Old Stage Road in Parker Lane. Mary, can you read that?
Sure, this is a subdivision number 827 Old Stage Road and Parker Lane, Barnstable, Massachusetts, by William Egan, has submitted an as-built plans and information. A request to release the lot is being requested, and all material is provided on the website.
Great, thank you. And this is also not a public hearing. If you didn't say that, I'll add that in. And Mr. Egan, you're at the podium, so if you just make a formal appearance for the record, then tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Thank you. Could I please just
Hand some stuff up, sure.
Oh, we have those, I think.
do you have those?
Yeah, did we get these?
These are pictures of
Yeah.
subdivision.
We have a couple pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you.
Service Road, up Parker Lane. Subdivision was approved in June of 2023. A two-lot subdivision. The subdivision was approved in June of 2023. It's a two-lot subdivision. The work on the road started in March of this year. We were completed in the March of 2024. It was completed in the fall of 2024. We submitted the as-built to the town planner in March, into February, actually, of this year. The as-built was submitted over to the DPW. There was a review process that was done by Mark Warble. I sent a letter back to Mr. Warble regarding comments on the things that he wants to have done. The majority of them have to do with the fact that we've lost some loam and seed with the weather on the shoulders on both sides. He also pointed out correctly that we did some landscaping behind that wall. And the wall, by the way, was not required by the subdivision plan. That was the decision I made to add it to the road. The landscaper had some sod left over and put it behind the wall. It looked really nice, but it did interfere with the swale coming into catch basin number 1. We've since taken that, all that sod has been removed, and the swale has now been connected properly to catch basin number 1. Additionally, he was concerned about some erosion around catch basin number 2. And at the same time we were there fixing the swale, we've now put a 2-foot perimeter of sod around catch basin number 2. The rest of the work that needs to be done will have to wait until we have days like we had today. So we're not going to be able to do any loaming and seeding for another couple of weeks. But the hope is if this kind of weather stays this way, we'll have that work done by the end of the month. All I'm asking for tonight is the release of one of the lots. Lot 3A, it's now known on the assessor's map as 640 Parker Lane. I've spoken to Mr. Warble just to alert him that we had done some of the work already, although I indicated to him it wouldn't be done until later this week. He said, "That's great, thank you, I'll try to swing by and take a look at it." But remind the planning board that what you're asking for, none of the things that I want to have done have anything to do with the lot you want to have released. These are, again, housekeeping things that will be attended to as the weather permitting. So again, I'm asking for your consideration to please release Lot 3A from covenant. Lot 2A, which is a larger lot, will remain in covenant until we've done the housekeeping required by the DPW memo.
Jim, anything to add to the presentation?
No, nothing to add. I think Mr. Egan summed it up nicely. The DPW engineer, Matt Vrobel, and I have discussed there are some still outstanding items, as Mr. Egan mentioned, but I know that he's actively working on it, and our engineer will inspect once completed.
Great, thanks. Any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Egan, starting with Matt?
No, thank you.
Michael?
No, thanks.
Ray?
No, thanks.
Greer?
No, just a question for Jim. It's fine to give a release of one part of the covenant, correct?
Yes, you certainly can release one lot if you so chose. I certainly would request that we don't release both lots at this time,
Okay.
and Mr. Egan isn't asking for that.
Okay, great. I'm good, thank you.
Jim?
I'm all set, thanks.
Great, I also have no questions, so
Can I make a motion?
you can make a motion.
Okay, make a motion to release the covenant for Lot 3A, which is 640 Parker Lane, subdivision 827.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Any member of the board have any comments or remarks you want to put on the record? Hearing none, then let's just move straight to the vote. It's been motioned and seconded, so all those in favor, Matt
Aye.
and Michael?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so it's 5-0. You are going to have the covenant released on that lot, and then we'll see you next time after all the work's done for the other lot.
You will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is a discussion. Are we discussing this board nominating Steve to go as the board's to the CPC?
That's correct.
Okay, so the next thing is a discussion. Steve Robichaud is a member of the CPC. He's up for reappointment. I know he would like to be reappointed to that board. I'm certainly in favor of him being reappointed to the board. Any members of the board have any comments or whatever you want to put on the record with regard to whether or not we recommend that Steve be reappointed? Matt?
Yeah, I think it makes sense if he's got continuity and he's clearly vested in this. I think it's a great choice to have him continue on.
Great. Michael?
I strongly agree. I think he's doing a great job, and he should continue with that.
Okay. Ray?
I just wanted to direct it to Jim to say a few words of what the CPC is.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so the Community Preservation Committee, so each of us as residents pay a portion of our taxes to the Community Preservation Act Fund, and the Community Preservation Act, which went into place quite some time ago, allows for a state match. Those funds come together and can be spent locally for 3 categories: housing, recreation, and preservation. And so at each meeting, the committee reviews applications for spending these funds on those types of uses. Right now, there's a preservation project behind one of the churches here on Main Street. There's, I think, $2 million maybe recently went to the Affordable Housing Trust to assist in pre-development and development funds for housing projects. And there's certainly been a number of recreational projects that have that have utilized CPA funds. So the CPC reviews projects and approves for funding. That approval then goes to town council, which ultimately determines whether or not to move forward with it.
Great, thanks.
And
Anything else, Fred? No. Tim?
I was gonna, just to jump in on that, I think the board, it's like required to have like one member of the planning board, right? One member of different,
That's correct.
there's a certain makeup that's required of it.
And the planning board representative is one of them, yes.
Okay, Jim, would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I would make a motion that we nominate or reappoint Stephen Robichaud to the CPC.
Anyone second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Jim, what's the vote? Is it a simple majority, or do we need a supermajority? What's the? Everyone here. Everyone here, okay. There you go.
It's a majority.
Just for clarification, he does want to do this, right?
Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I know, he's on vacation.
While
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not here, we didn't want to like,
No, absolutely. We have to appoint him while he's
Yeah,
not
we
here.
got a whole list of committees we're going to appoint you to, Mary, if you're not here.
I better make sure I'm here.
Let this be a lesson.
Right.
Someone was elected vice chair in his absence, I'll just point out.
It must have been you, Bob.
It was, yes. Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, Matt?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so in fact, it is unanimous, and we've met that high standard. I know Steve's not available by telephone as we speak, but Jim, can we rely upon you to forward that to him when he becomes
Absolutely.
available? Great, thank you.
You can send a telegram to the ship.
I was trying to avoid that, or disclosing his whereabouts, right? Okay, so general correspondence, we apparently have a Chapter 91 application for 181 Bay Shore Road, Hyannis, Jason Stone Trust, pertains to a boat lift, a ramp, a float, and dredging. Staff,
And just a point of order, that was 183 Bayshore Road,
I'm sorry, what did I say?
181.
Oh, sorry. 183 Bay Shore Road, Hyannis. Jim, staff updates?
Absolutely. So before I get into the housing report, I just want to give a brief update. We have a lot of planning initiatives ongoing here in April. We have the housing production plan review. The town, if you remember, the town council maybe a month or two ago requested that we seek further public comment on the draft plan. We have released it out for public review and comment. We also held 2 public meetings last week. One here, it was recorded and released through all our communications, and then also at ComFire, the station over off of 28, we held a second meeting. In addition to the housing production plan, we have a digital equity plan. That's a combination of the town of Barnstable and the Cape Cod Commission, looking at our digital environment and ways in which we can provide equitable access to all populations, including our senior population, and assisting in ways to improve our digital landscape, such as last mile and devices for folks that might not have access to devices. We're also working through our community development block grant 5-year plan, and that is currently for review and public comment throughout the month. And lastly, our local comprehensive planning committee has released the draft plan, and we are crisscrossing the community, doing 3 upcoming meetings here. West Barnstable, Barnstable Village is tomorrow night, and then we will be over in Osterville, and also I believe Liberty Hall, as well as at the high school to end the month with a fairly large setting for, and we'll have childcare and translation services for that last one at the high school. So a lot of planning initiatives ongoing, but each and every day we have a lot of regulatory review in regards to housing. And the chairman did ask that I present this brief plan or a project report to the board. So this is the Town of Barnstable's multifamily housing development report. So each month, our staff at the Planning and Development Office review all the permitted projects or in permitting and update this report. The slide deck hasn't been updated for about 2 months now, so I'll give some narrative to some of these slides, but I presented this originally in December to the town council. I've followed this up with a couple of different boards and committees, including CPC with Mr. Robichaud, and he had recommended I presented here tonight. It really just gives kind of a general overview of what the town of Barnstable is doing for housing. So how do we support housing? We support housing in many different ways, but these 3 different buckets here. Programs, incentives, and regulatory. Programs being the Housing Trust. The Housing Trust uses those CPA funds to assist in pre-development and development funds. So so $2 million, I believe, over the past few years to go towards assisting housing. Incentives, so we have HDIP, which is a tax incentive program, and that tax incentive program essentially incentivizes development or housing in a very specific area of essentially downtown Hyannis. And what it does is provide potential relief for the new growth tax dollars that are realized through investment and new development. And then lastly, it's regulatory.
Jim,
Yep.
could you say in English what HDIP is?
So, housing development
Incentive?
program.
Okay.
Yeah. But really, the bottom line, tax incentive program. Okay. And so you have a dilapidated property that's valued at X, and then someone comes along and wants to revitalize it, and with our regulatory framework, allow for a little more density. And so those tax dollars now, the assessed value was this, and now it's this. And the potential difference there can be, you can seek tax relief for that difference or part of that difference depending on what the request is and what ultimately the town council approves. So we are eligible for that program. We have that program available just in the downtown Hyannis area. And then regulatory, so zoning. So you guys are intimately familiar with our fairly recent zoning initiative a little over 2 years ago now. And you'll see tonight's topic is talking about what has transpired since that point. So this is the multifamily housing report, not meant for you to be able to read that on this screen, but I'll show you where you can find it. Essentially what this is broken down into 3 parts. The first is the discussion of pre-new zoning and post-new zoning, and then we break it down further into in Hyannis and outside of Hyannis. And so the first column is within downtown Hyannis prior to the new zoning. The second column is within downtown Hyannis since the new zoning. And prior to the new zoning is really about 2017, because that's when we started seeing real development. And then the last category is irregardless of when the new zoning, so 2017 to now, outside of downtown Hyannis, because you'll see in a moment here, not a lot there is very specific areas where there is development outside of Hyannis. So where do you find this report? So if you're at home, you can click on the town's website. The big left side, there's a big housing button. And then on the right side of that, once you get to the housing page, there's a multifamily residential development report. And that whole spreadsheet is there outlining what projects, where they are in the permitting process, and what the unit counts are for them and what the affordability is. So where are these housing projects? You'll see them, I mean, this is the map of Barnstable. You'll see them clustered in downtown Hyannis with some sprinkle of housing outside. Predominantly the 3 towards the north of the screen, or on the north of the map, is in Independence Park. 3 of the larger developments was at Everly, Carriage House, /Village Green, and the Hanover. Over to the west, we have 900 Old Stage Road, which was a 40B, a 14-unit, I believe, 40B. And then we got 2 on Falmouth Road. But by and large, much of everything is right there in downtown Hyannis. And we zoom in there. So, summary of housing production within downtown Hyannis prior to downtown Hyannis zoning. So, prior to the 2023 new zoning, we had 216 units created in that 6-year time frame. Only 13 of those were affordable, and almost all of the realized new units were done through regulatory agreements, which you guys are very familiar with. And you had been very familiar. You've had to see those regulatory agreements time and time again. But as you'll see, since the new zoning, no regulatory agreements. And that's by and large the reason you haven't seen new regulatory agreements recently is because of the new zoning. So it's before 216 units in 6 years, we were talking about 637. And that total units created shouldn't really say created, it should say permitted. Because, as we all know, not everything is being built immediately. We are starting to realize some of the permitted projects, but not everything has been permitted. And unfortunately, in the current state, maybe not everything will be fully realized. But 637 permitted, and that's from 2023 to 2024. So there is a gap there of a few months since we've updated this slide deck. Total affordable units, so that percent of affordable is slightly higher than what was before, though still pretty low, and none of them came through regulatory agreements. So this is by right zoning that we have on the books that is as a roadmap for an individual who's looking to invest in downtown Hyannis, essentially.
Mr. Chairman, I want to foot stomp that, because that is a reflection of the zoning revisions where then we cut down. That's one of the major bumps in the road for a developer to deal with is now gone. And
Exactly.
if they follow the rules, they can just by right do their thing.
And there are some other hurdles. So I will say, if you're in a certain area of downtown Hyannis, there is still the historic district that has review authority for exterior improvements. So there are still those kind of permitting thresholds that still need to occur. So let's see, prior to and after downtown Hyannis. Now, this is outside of downtown Hyannis. I just wanted to make sure we included a large number of units, but these are very large developments. You guys are all familiar with them. The Everly, Hanover. We'll have to add to in permitting probably pretty soon, Hanover number 2. These, again, outside of downtown Hyannis, all of these were, all of these were permitted before the new zoning. And these are bigger box apartment complexes. So when you read the news and you say, well, X Cape Cod town is doing this, X Cape Cod town is doing this, why aren't we doing anything? I'll say to you, we certainly are doing a whole heck of a lot for housing. Barnstable has permitted, and again, I should adjust that word, so permitted 1,526 just in the past 6-7 years. Total affordable units, 213. Again, that number is a bit of a concern for myself, and there are ways in which we can improve that number. But nevertheless, adding shelter and attainable housing at 1,526 units is pretty remarkable for Cape Town, and I think Barnstable is certainly doing their part. Those 8 regulatory agreements, as I mentioned before, predate the new zoning. So I'm going to dive quickly. I'm just going to run through these different projects, and then I'm happy to take any questions afterwards. But I wanted to just zoom in on each project. And again, this is a little outdated. There's some updates since this time. 24 and 30 Crocker Street, for example, this can be moved from, so we're in permitting. This has been permitted. So it's gone through the permitting process. 24 and 30 Crocker Street, this is in the east end of Hyannis, just kind of behind the building department of Main Street. This is 15 units at 0 affordable units, and the reason for the 0 affordables is it already had 5 existing units, so that affordable threshold is whenever a development of 10 or more units comes in, you add one affordable, or 10% affordable unit. So this already had 5 units, so it didn't create 10 new units, so therefore it didn't have any affordables required. And this is what was proposed, duplexes in the back, preserving the existing structures up front. These are the elevations, somewhat simple, duplexes for the rear of the property. Down the street, just behind North Street in downtown Hyannis, at 23 Washington Street. 23 Washington Street comes up to North Street and has proposed 32 new units. And so again, that 10% threshold. So 3 affordable units are proposed here. The columns over to the right, 65% area median income, that's the requirement with the town of Barnstable. Not every town has the same area median income threshold. Barnstable has 65%. So 10% at 65% area median income, you have 3 affordable units, so 32 and 3. This is what's the existing conditions. This is kind of is the site plan, and this is what is proposed, though it hasn't moved beyond permitting at this time. So that's 4 stories, 32 units. Around the corner on Center Street, 79 Center Street. This is a vacant lot, proposing 9 units. 9 units, again, remember the 10-unit threshold. You're going to see or hear a lot of 9 units or a handful of 9 units, and that may or may not be because of the required affordable unit. So total units 9, total affordable units 0. This is the old vacant lot, kind of used as dumping ground over the years. Proposed apartment building. Has 9 apartments on a 3-story apartment building, though using the grade. So on the back side, it's only 2 stories. Around the corner, 473 Main Street. So 473 Main Street. So this is phase 2. This no longer is being moved forward, but I would run it by you real quick. Total was 35 units so we do reasonable rounding. So we're at 35 units. So now you got 10% is 4 because it's 3.5. So reasonable rounding. You got 4 affordable housing units required. So 35 and 4. This is the front half of the motel on Main, and I believe that's High School Road Extension. Yes. And they were going to have an infill project in the front there along Main Street. This is what was proposed, 3 stories. And unfortunately, the applicant couldn't come to an agreement with Historic, and so it did not move forward. They are going to preserve the structures that are there and turn the motel units into studio and 1-bedroom apartments instead. 407 North Street, 9-unit development, no affordables. Oh, yeah, this existing conditions. This is what's proposed, just internal renovations there. I didn't get a good shot of the inside, sorry. 337 Main Street. So 337 Main Street is another one that is currently being discussed. It unfortunately did not pass Historic. So this is a 22-unit, 2 affordables, 2 at 65% area median income. This is the existing site, though it looks better in the picture than in real life. And this is what was proposed, commercial on the first floor, 3 stories above, though the front-facing facade was going to have kind of a steeper roof to make it look like a 3-story. Moving into permitted. So 268 Stevens Street, 50 units, 40 total affordable units. So this is a different model. This is actually partially what we discussed at one of the earlier meetings about the Commonwealth Builder Program and utilizing that. So 40 affordable, though you'll see at 100% area median income. So all the way at the end there. So that's that workforce housing category. 50 units, 40 affordable, 100%. Vacant lot was, I think, proposed to be a dealership at one time, and now will be a development such as this. So it'll be 50 new units right there. 40 North Street, so this is actually just in front of that Washington Street development that we were discussing not that long ago, Washington and North Street. It was an office building converting into 8 units. So you're sitting there in an office building, it's pretty close to being done as 8 units of housing. This is just exterior proposals. 94 Stevens Street, 40 total units, 4 affordable units for 65% area median income. The existing conditions, they're going to be, they're going to preserve and relocate the front section of this church, and then they're proposing a 3-story development there. 28 Barnstable Road, I think this board's familiar with 28 Barnstable Road. They received, I believe, relief, maybe from parking, perhaps. I can't recall now, but it's reusing the existing structure to put 4 units above. So this is the existing structure. You're probably familiar with driving by, lashes, and then they were going to put a second story over lashes and put units within, but preserving the commercial there. 307 Main Street, 120 units. We put 30 as a placeholder for the affordability. That is going to increase, but we're waiting to see the full financial package for 307 Main Street. So it's 120 units with significant affordability. This is the old TD Bank, and this is what's proposed. And this got through after a few meetings with Historic. 11 Potter Ave, 5 units of housing. And they've actually come back to the Affordable Housing Trust looking for some incentives, and potentially are going to have affordable units there. This is just renovating the existing structure to create 5 units. 53 Camp Street, 5 more units. This is preserving the front building and just adding a secondary structure in the back. And again, that's again one of the perks of the new zoning, allowing for multiple principal structures on one lot. Prior, you would have to have some sort of addition, which may or may not work out for a lot of these older structures. So this is another way in which you can preserve many of the principal structures on the lot. 50 Main Street is 10 units, 1 affordable. They are in front of the council, I believe now, looking for potential tax increment exemption. And this was the existing structure. And then they're going to put essentially 5 duplexes on the lot there. 201 Main Street is in the ground. We have a foundation, we have framing going up now, 95 units, 10 affordable. This is the old boarded up motel, and this is what's being constructed right now. Under construction, so I should move that into under construction. In addition, 473 Main Street, so that's that motel I talked about how they wanted to do an infill in the front, but they ended up having to convert the structure that's there. They also did something to the rear of conversion, so 20 units and 2 affordable, just converting those units into efficiency apartments, essentially. 32 Main Street, 9 units there. This is, so if you look here, you see in the rear, there's some residential units, and up front, there's an office building. They want to convert the office building into residential. So this is what was existing, and they're converting into 9 units. 210 North Street. 210 North Street is 18 units, 2 affordable units. 210, the old 7-Eleven. Using the existing foundation, they're going to be placing the structure there. This is what it would look like. 199 Barnstable Road, I believe received some incentives. It's 45 total units, 9 affordable, 5 at 65% area median income, 4 at 80% area median income, and that extra 4 is because of the Affordable Housing Trust and the tax increment exemptions in the negotiations, getting 4 additional affordables. So this is the old Sprinkle building, and this is what's proposed there. It's in 4 structures over essentially 3 or 4 properties, and we'll add 45 units there. 235 Barnstable Road, 13 units, 1 affordable. That's just right across the street from the building we were just in at the Sprinkle building. Just repurposing the upstairs structure for residential units. 81 Bassett Lane, 4 units, renovating 2 existing structures on the site in order to put 4 new units there. 110 School Street, you guys are very familiar with this one, 110 and 115, 28 total units, 5 affordable, and the next one is 26 units. And the property owner came before you to move these affordable units off-site to 310 Barnstable Road. So this is what it doesn't look like that anymore. Now it looks like a hole in the ground, but this is what is proposed. And same thing across the street. 50 Yarmouth Road, 15 total units, 5 affordable, 1 at 65% area median income, 1 at 80% area median income, and 3 at 100% area median income. And once again, that's because of looking for incentive through the housing trust or tax increment exemption. There was negotiations for additional affordables. Preserving the existing structure and putting duplexes behind that existing structure. All of these can be found, again, right on the town's website, housing button. Go to the multifamily housing report. These are updated every month by our staff as we review each project as they come forward. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman?
Ray?
Jim, one thing, when we've gone through the negotiations for regulatory agreements and stuff, we try to raise the bar. The overwhelming majority of these are straight 10%, even if it's rounded upward in some cases. Is that one of the outcomes of the by right development, that essentially that we kind of lose the opportunity to maybe do a little arm twisting to increase the affordable proportion?
Yeah, I would say yes, in that there's, I guess you lose that ability to negotiate further. But what I think the real issue here is just like the zoning, laying out what you truly want or truly need. Right now, the ordinance says 10% inclusionary housing. So it is a benefit to anyone who's looking to invest. They know I have to put 10% in my pro forma. However, maybe that 10% isn't that right number for us as a community. But what that number is, we're not exactly sure just yet. We're hoping to get a grant to finish off an inclusionary housing economic feasibility analysis. And what that would do is truly understand, given market and everything, what percent of affordability we could increase it to that wouldn't render a project not feasible to move forward with. So, for instance, I believe Cambridge not that long ago went up to 25% affordable and realized, oh, we maybe went too much and dropped it back down slightly, not anywhere near us. But so a lot of towns are moving that bar up and down. And so we got to figure out really what's right for us as a community. And so we're hoping to do that analysis so we can right-size that affordability percentage.
Yeah, I was thinking that besides just the affordable percentage, it's also, I think, the AMI. The purpose is, okay, do we want to make it aim for 50 to 65%, or do we want to aim for 100%, which would be a different cadre of individuals, like the police and the cops and the nurses and people that are making a little bit more money but can't afford to live on the Cape. And so I guess that would be one of the things that this study might do, is not just shoot for a quote-unquote affordable housing, but what kind of affordable housing. I'm not sure if we're there yet.
Yeah, that's what the study will certainly look at, as well as that AMI. Barnstable actually does a rather unique AMI, 65%. That's not something that most communities do. It's either 60 or 80. So, yeah, we have somewhat unique, and we probably need to tweak that some.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else have any questions for Jim on any of these things?
That's a great report, and it's really nice to see that level of development happening based on, what are really some sensible changes that provide people a clear path to development. I think it's so important, and you have to balance all those other factors, right? How much affordability, where, does it make sense, you know? And we, you know, I'm proud to be part of a town that's leading the way in this, because there's so many other areas, you know, of the state that are just struggling with this. I will remind all of us here that part of the reason this happens is because of infrastructure, right? Right, when you can flush the toilets and they go someplace and they end up in a you know, handled in a scientific and engineering manner, right? And we can control that wastewater. That is the number one issue here, and we have such a great capacity to it. So, you know, well done. It's good for us to use it.
Michael?
Yeah, no, this is a great report. Exactly what we were talking about, you know, throughout this whole, you know, housing crisis. So it's very, for me at least, it's extremely exciting, you know, to see how we then actually try to solve the problem. So great report. Thanks.
Anything else, Ray? Mary?
Great report. It's nice to see the history there. I think we've all known it's happening, but when you see it the way you laid it out, it's really encouraging. Thank you for doing that.
Tim?
No, I agree with the rest of the board. It's, you know, it's a great report, and, you know, thank you for the update. And, you know, I also, it's exciting to see, you know, we saw some of those projects. Like, I think the first thing that came in after the new zoning was the old Baxter and I building. It came in like a special permit. It was like the first new zoning one, but it came in, it was like a small special permit for one setback or something like that. And then a lot of the other projects on there were new. I didn't know they were going on or anything. So it's kind of cool to see that, you know, some of our work is coming to fruition. So
Right.
it's great.
Amazing.
I mean, it's great. I mean, it is so thorough. I mean, some of those projects on there, we've seen over and over and over again,
Right.
because they've been before us.
Right.
But as Tim just pointed out, a lot of them, I didn't know that they were there.
Right.
You know, I mean, you see the open space, you see activity, but in terms of something actually formally going to happen, that's great to hear. Just to follow up on something that Ray said and that Jim alluded to, we have to, in addition to affordable housing, we have to keep our eyes on housing that's affordable. You know, looking for those folks who don't qualify for affordable but still can't afford to live here.
Right.
How do we find that zone of housing? And it looks like we're making some progress, you know, in there. You know, some of those projects that Jim just showed us, which didn't come before us, some of them were approaching 20% affordable in there without having to have us twist anyone's arm to, you know, get there. So good. Yeah,
To your
Matt?
point, Bob, just very quickly, because that what you said is, you know, how do we keep housing affordable? One of the greatest things we can do as a planning board and as a community is to not buy in to the Green Communities Act, the Stretch Energy Code. These are all additional burdensome regulations that make it more expensive to build a house. Period. And it's likely we will be discussing that. And it is the number one killer of sensibly priced housing in the state. If people want to build a house to a very high energy standard, there's no restriction in the building code. You can build a house with 4-foot thick walls if you want to. But don't put a gun to people's head to do it, because it trickles down to all these projects. They all get more expensive. So let's keep doing the right thing and leading the way in this, you know, in the state.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Anyone have any matters that were not previously anticipated when the agenda came out? Seeing none. Next thing on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have the minutes from March 24th, 2025. Everyone have a chance to take a look at those minutes?
Yes.
Okay. So I move then to approve the minutes of March 24, 2025. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Who's that? Is that Matt?
Michael.
Michael, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Matt?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. So future meetings are set for April 28th and May 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Anyone have anything else before a motion to adjourn?
Just to jump into one of the future meetings, is the potential zoning change for the multifamily affordable thing 28, is that on the 28th?
It is on the 28th, and you do have correspondence from Councilor Ludke requesting to withdraw that, but just so the board knows, you still do, or the initiative still has to go through the process, so.
Yeah, and
the
that was,
board-
that was continued as an open
To the-
meeting to that, right?
Exactly right,
Yeah, okay.
exactly right.
Can you just clarify, so she's withdrawing it?
She's requesting to withdraw it, but the board already has a hearing open, so you do need to make a recommendation one way or the other to council. Council then has to still open the hearing, and then they can determine whether to accept that withdrawal or not.
Okay, great. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay. Anyone have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tim. Seconds?
I'll second.
Matt, thank you. All in favor, Matt?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Meeting is adjourned.